Hi there. Okay, we are going to talk about a few parts from 1-2 and some things from 1-3. Okay, so most of 1-2 I think you're pretty good with. All right, so with 1-2 we talked about, sorry, I got to pull my book over here and try not to get it too much in the camera. We talked about tenths and hundredths, decimal place value, and we talked about how those are equivalent. Okay, so if I have 3/10 as a fraction, that's the same thing as 3/10 as a decimal. And they sound the same to my ears. It says that on your packet. 3/10 and 3/10. Same thing with hundredths. If I have 9/100ths as a decimal, that's the same as 9/100ths as a fraction. Okay? Let me get it on there. There you go. 9/100ths as a fraction. Those are the same. They're equal. Okay? That was a big part of the chapter. Okay? Also just knowing tenths place, hundredths place. The harder part was changing the fraction to a decimal, okay, which is easy if it already is in the 10, has a 10 or 100 on the bottom. But what if it doesn't, okay? We have an example. We're going to do page 9. We're going to do number 30 together, okay? Page 9, number 30, all right? If you think you've already got this pretty mastered, then pause it. Pause the video, try it, and then you can turn it back on and see how you did. If you're still kind of struggling with it, do it with me, okay? And you should definitely have that packet out because I put the steps on here if you're struggling. The steps how to do that, the bottom of lesson 1-2. So that is 7/50ths. And the first step, if you look at your packet, the first step is to tip it into the division symbol, okay? So if I tip it into the division symbol, the 7 goes here and the 50 goes here, which really looks odd to us. We don't like to put the smaller number on the inside, but remember, this is a fraction that's less than 1. If you ate 7/50ths of a pizza, you ate 7 pieces out of 50 of that pizza. So you ate less than a whole pizza, okay? Which is why when we divide, we're going to get a decimal that's less than 1. So it'll make sense, okay? So let's take a look. So my first step is to tip it in. My next step is to put a decimal point in a 0 because 7 and 7.0 are the same. They mean the same thing, okay? And my next step is to move that decimal point straight up. Most of my kiddos are usually very comfortable up to here, and now they start getting a little like, now I'm a little unsure, okay? So now that I've moved that decimal straight up, I can basically kind of ignore it. You can even erase it if it makes you feel better, okay? I don't have to pay attention to it. How many times does 50 go into 70? Well, 50 will go into 70 one time. So I'm going to put a 1 here. And now we have to kind of remember some of our long division. The next step is to multiply. 1 times 50 is 50. And I need to subtract. And I get 20 left. So I'm not done yet. What I have to do is add a 0 and bring it down. Now the reason I can do that, remember we said 7 and 7.0 are the same thing? Well, 7 and 7.00 are the same thing. I can add as many zeros as I want at the end of a decimal number, and it doesn't change the value. So I'm going to add another 0 and bring it down. Now, how many times will 50 go into 200? Well, count by your 50s. 50, 100, 150, 200. 50 goes into 200 4 times. So I multiply that and subtract, and now I get a 0. So what that's telling me is that 7/50ths is the same thing as 1400ths, 0.14, okay? Which is also less than 1. Remember that pizza example? I ate 7 out of 50 pieces. I really ate less than a whole pizza, a lot less than a whole pizza. And what that is 1400ths, less than a whole pizza, okay? 1400ths of a pizza. All right, we're going to do one more together, and then we're going to look at some things about 1-3. Okay, so we're going to do number 31 together, also on page 9. Okay, same thing. I want everybody now, regardless of how you feel, to pause it and try it and see how far you can get. Even if you can't get the whole thing or you get stuck, pause it and try it and then turn the video back on. Okay, so we have 9/20ths, and I am going to tip it into my division symbol. That's step 1. Step 2 is what? Put a decimal point and a 0. Step 3, bring the decimal point straight up and divide. Remember, now if you're funky, ignore that decimal here. How many times does 20 go into 90? Count by 20s. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So it's going to go in 4 times. 20 times 4 is 80. So I'm going to subtract. Well, I didn't get a 0 yet, which means I have to keep going. Remember what I have to do? Add another 0 and bring it down. Now, how many times does 20 go into 100? Count by 20s. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. 5 times. So here's my 5. Subtract 100, and now I'm done. So 9/20ths is the same thing as 45/100ths. Okay? All right, we're going to jump into lesson 1-3. Okay, so you have your packet. So take a look at that page for 1-3. This is not a big jump, okay? I honestly think 1-2 is harder than 1-3. When I teach 1-3, we usually do quite a bit of review on that day because it's not adding a whole lot. Sorry, dropped my eraser. A lot of new information, okay? It's adding the thousandths place. So look at 1-3, and you can see on your packet, the first example there looks like this, okay? This is the tenths place. And remember that, gotta have that THS. Tenths, this is the hundredths place. Again, gotta have that THS. And this is my new one today that I'm adding. That third place after the decimal is the thousandths place with the THS, okay? So tenths, hundredths, thousandths. The biggest mistake kids make here is they want this to be the oneths place because it's ones over here. There is no oneths place. I wish there were. There's not, okay? It doesn't work that way. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Got to have those in there. Okay, so you can see in your example that this example is 7 thousandths. You can see that on your packet. That's the first example. The second one, which is written like this, okay, right away a big jump. Remember when we did this last time? We said we read this like its own number, like I would just, what is that number? 315. And then I add the place value word where the last digit is. That's the place value word I add. So this is 315 thousandths, right? So using that same idea, okay, I'm going to look at this next one, which gets a little trickier. We talked about this a little bit when we talked about 1-2. The next example is this one. Well, remember, whenever I see this decimal point and I'm saying it, I have to use the word and, okay? So this is going to be 3 and, say that like a whole number, 789. What's my place value word at the end? Thousandths. So say this word one with me, 3 and 789 thousandths, okay? All right. Now, if you can see underneath that on your packet, it talks about how to make these fractions. And just like we talked about for 1-2, the fraction and the decimal sound the same to our ears, all right? So 7 thousandths looks like this is a decimal. It looks like this is a fraction, 7 thousandths, okay? 315 thousandths is 315 over 1,000. The last example we just talked about, 3 and 789 thousandths, is going to be his mixed number. 3 and 789 over 1,000. Okay? That number in the ones place, it becomes the whole number in a mixed number. Okay? All right, here is the you try section. All right? I want you to pause the video and I want you to do the you try section, okay? And then turn it back on and we'll go over them. All right, so number 1 on you try was 0.029. You were supposed to write it in word form. I'm not going to write that all out because that would take a long time on the video, but I'll say it, okay? So it would be 29 thousandths. So look what you have written and see if you have that 29 thousandths. What would that be as a fraction? 29 over 1,000, okay? The second one, in word form, listen to how I say it and check what you have, would be 346 thousandths, okay? And how would that look as a fraction? 346 over 1,000, okay? And now number 3, this would be in word form, 4 thousandths. I hope you're getting those THS's in there. It's important, thousandths. And the fraction would be 4 over 1,000, okay? All right, let's go to the spot where it says a little tougher, all right? A little tougher. Write a mixed number as a fraction, okay? So here is 1 3/10. Remember, this is going to sound the same to our ears. We just said that. 1 and, remember I see the decimal, I say and, not point. 1 and 3/10. Okay, so these are equivalent. Okay, they mean the same thing. And if I have this one, 4 and 51 over 1,000, that would be 4 is my ones place. Here's my and. Here's where, this is where I get a lot of kids messing up. 51,000. Does it look like this or like this? Remember, when I say it, I have to say the place value word the last digit. So this would actually be 4 and 51/100ths. So I have to put a 0 in there to hold that spot. 4 and 51,000ths would look like this. Okay? Okay. I want you to do the 2 you try. Okay, so pause the video, do the 2 you try. All right, and then we'll do them together. Okay, the first one was 6 and 7 over 100 would be 6 and 7/100ths. Remember about that, it can't be 6.7, that would be 6 and 7/10ths. This is 6 and 7/100ths. And the next one, 2 and, oops, I gotta write the decimal form first. The decimal 2.071 would be 2. Ooh, you're loop. I don't want to lose it off the screen there. 2 and 71 over 1,000, because this last digit is in the thousands place. Okay. Number 3 on your note packet says that you are to make a problem and answer it. One of these. You write the mixed number and leave a blank where the decimal would be, or you write the decimal and leave a blank where the mixed number would be. But I want you to do the problem and the answer there, okay? So you can stop there. Good job today. If you're not with us, we miss you, and hopefully you'll be back with us soon. So have a great day, and I love you, and Jesus loves you. So see you soon. Bye.